friends, here Oja sir is going to present in front of you the French Revolution, the first chapter of class 9th CBSE course. So in this chapter we have to discuss the causes, the consequences, the course of the revolution. Before I am going to explain what are the different circumstances responsible for outbreak of the French Revolution of 1789, let me to explain first of all what is the importance or the legacy of the French Revolution. The French Revolution is called the mother of modern democracy because the modern democratic ideas, those are born from the French Revolution of 1789. It is not only a greater landmark in the history of France, but also it is a greater landmark in the history of the world. And a lot of other consequences I have to explain in the latter part of this video. So before we are going to explain the French Revolution of 1789, first of all we must have to know what is the meaning of the term revolution. So revolution, that is called a recognized momentous change in any situation, and when we can say that a certain result that is coming out by the sudden overthrow of the existing system of governance, so that is called the revolution. So you can take the example of the French Revolution of 1789. So this revolution brought a drastic change in the existing political system of France. So in France, before 1789, the absolute monarchy prevailed. The king is the supreme authority. All the powers are vested in the hand of the French monarch. So the revolution that brought a drastic change in the existing pattern of governance, the existing absolute monarchy that was comes to an end, and a democracy that was established. And after the overthrow of this absolute monarchy in France, so then it is spread to other part of the European countries, and then it is spread to other part of the world. And now almost in every country you can find the democracy. So that is the origin of democracy from the revolution which was occurred in 1789 in France, and which is known as the French Revolution 1789. So the day, that is 14th July 1789, the city of Paris was in a state of alarm. The King Louis XVI had commanded the troops to move into the city. Then rumors those are spread that he would soon order the army to open into the city. So the citizens, that is those who are gathered in front of the palace, about 7,000 men and women, those who form the People's Militia. People's Militia means now all these people, they consider that they should have to oppose the military that is going to open fire on these people. So these people, they form the People's Militia. It's all these 7,000 people, those who gathered in front of the palace, they declared themselves as the warriors, and they now started to oppose the king's troops. So the government buildings, now they started to broke down the government buildings in a search of arms. And finally, a group of several hundred people marched toward the eastern part of the city and stormed the fort palace that is called the Fort Bastille, where they hoped to find the hoarded ammunition. And in the armed fight, they followed the commander of the Bastille was killed, and the prisoners, those were released. So now they hate the Bastille. Everybody in France, they hate Bastille. What is the reason behind it? Because the Fort Bastille that stood as the symbol of despotism, because the innocent people, so those who are imprisoned by the king for several years. So everybody, they considered that the fort of Bastille as the symbol of. So the question is, the French people, they hate the fort of Bastille. The reason is it symbolizes despotism, the absolute monarch, the monarchy who imprisoned the innocent people for several years. So that's why the people of France, they hate the fort of Bastille. So in this way, the fort of Bastille was destroyed, and people, they are taken the fragments of a stone as a souvenir, because they want to keep it in their drawing rooms, so that they should have to pass the message that how a day was there when in France the absolute monarchy was there, and now due to the powerful revolution that people, they organized, so they able to destroy the fort of Bastille. So this is the beginning of the French Revolution, which was occurred on 14th of July 1789. So now I am going to explain that the French society during the late 18th century. So we can say that what are the different circumstances those are responsible for the outbreak of the French Revolution of 1789. So we have to say that a number of circumstances responsible for the outbreak of the French Revolution of 1789. Before that, I just want to explain some terms. Those are very new for you, because as a student of 9th standard, so these terms totally new for you. So before I am going to explain the circumstances or the causes responsible for the outbreak of the French Revolution of 1789. So we can say that what type of French society that was existed before the outbreak of the French Revolution of 1789. So in 1774, Louis XVI, who ascended the throne of France and who belongs to the Bourbon dynasty, but when he ascended the throne, so he found an empty treasury. The treasury which was used by his ancestors living in a luxurious life. So that is called the economic circumstance or the economic causes that is responsible. So what are the different activities of the monarch that help to empty the treasury? So we can say that this is the economic cause for the outbreak of the French Revolution of 1789. So the empty treasury that is occurred in France because of the vast expenditure on army. The French monarch spent a lot of money on army, and the monarch lived in a very luxurious life in the Palace of Versailles. So he maintained an extravagant court in the Palace of Versailles, and there is no money to run the offices or the universities or to maintain the army for its defense. So these are the different type of problems those that arise at the time. So for this, the monarch required to increase the taxes so that the money that should have to use to fill the empty treasury. So this is the first circumstance we can say that is responsible for the outbreak of the French Revolution. The second, the most important cause for the French Revolution, that is the social cause that is responsible for the outbreak of the French Revolution. So there was a feudal system which is consisting of the three estates. Estates means the different social sections. So in France, so the French society divided into three different estates. The first estate, the second estate, and the third estate. So we can say that the first and second estate, that is the privileged class, because all type of privileges those are enjoyed by these two group of people. The third estate, that is called the common class people's section, and they're consisting of 90% of the society, and 10% consisting of these first two estates. So all the privileges, all type of rights, those are only applicable for this privileged class. And the third estate, those who are called the unprivileged class, so they are deprived of the different type of facilities those are provided by the monarch. So they constitute the major part of the French society, and these people, so they only have the right to pay taxes, but they don't have the right to enjoy the rights and other privileges. So that's why they are called the unprivileged class people in the French society. So then we can say that the social region, so this type of inequality that was prevalent, the privileged and unprivileged group of people, the burden of a taxation that was fell on the shoulder of these common class people who constitute 90% of the French society, and only 10% that is consisting by the first two estates. The first estate called the clergies, and the second estate, so they are called the nobles. So they are very close to the king. And the third estate people, so they pay a number of taxes to the government. So the economic cause where we can say that there is an empty treasury. So when the king decided to increase the tax of the country, so there is a provision that without the consent of the Estates General, so the king will not have to increase the taxes. So the king called for the Estate General's meeting, and in this Estate General's meeting, the two estates, the first estate, second estate people, they sit in front of the third estate people. So they started voting. The king gave the proposal that the voting should be organized in the Estate General's meeting on the basis of the estate. So the first and second estate, that is 1 and 1 plus 2, and the third estate, that is called the 3. So the king have that type of idea that if the first and second estate people will have to support the king's proposal, so then the proposal of increasing taxes, it will have to pass. But the third estate people, those who are consisting of 600 representatives, and the first and second estate people, those are consisting of 300 and 300 representatives. So now these people, means the representatives of the third estate, the 600 representatives, now they denied the proposal of the king, and they gave the proposal that the vote should be conducted on the basis of representative, not on the basis of the estate. So this is the point where the conflict it was arise. So then the third estate people, so they walked out from the Estate General's meeting, and they gathered in the nearby tennis court in June 1791. So these people, now they gathered and they had taken an oath. They should not have to separate from each other until they frame a constitution for France. So this oath that was taken by these third estate people is called the tennis court oath. So this is the most important topic and the most important term that, dear student, you must have to understand, that what is tennis court oath and what is the Estate General's meeting. Again, I am explaining these two terms. That is, Estate General means that is one representative body. So the representatives from 3 different estates will have to sit together, and they should have to pass the proposal of the king, because there is a provision in France at the time that without the consent of the Estate General's meeting, the king have no right to increase the taxes. And why the taxes it is required to increase the taxes it is required for the king? Because Louis XVI, so who is living in a very extravagant way of life, and his Queen Marie Antoinette, who is also interfering in the internal affairs, and due to this extravagant or expenditure, so now it is very difficult for the French king to collect money and to run the administration. So that's why the State General's meeting it was called by France.